Good morning, good morning. How's everybody doing this morning? Good to see you all. Well, just gonna put this in the old chat here. Well, folks, welcome to our Microefutures RTH session for April the 10th. Let's go take a look and see what's going on in this crazy whack job of a market. So, come on, screen. Waiting for my screen to switch. A little bit of a delay here today. Hey, Trader Dan. Welcome, everyone. Okay. Sorry, I'm just trying to manipulate my charts here. If the stream is choppy, folks, try refreshing your YouTube. That might. Anyway, let's try and make the best of it. There is a bit of lag. I do apologize. My sound is gone. Oh, man. Try refreshing your screen. Thanks, Mark. Yeah, try refreshing the screen. It might work. Right. All right, let's get to it. Oh, my goodness. So, overnight inventory? Yeah, just refresh your screen if it's not working. Overnight inventory, ladies and gentlemen, is short. The majority of the trading is underneath yesterday's close. Okay? Now, unfortunately, or fortunately, so usually when overnight inventory is short, we get a move up to cover. Now, this 53.42 half level is something that you really want to pay attention to on a longer term chart. That level here, that is sort of our gatekeeper to lower. If we get underneath 53.42, we're going to come down and we're going to try and get into this green box. This is where the massive short position from yesterday is located. Okay? That's where that massive short position is, from 51.01 all the way up to 52.81. Now, I don't know about you guys, but in market profile, I don't think we've seen single prints that large ever. Not even after those big Fed days and that sort of thing. So, what happens when we get down to that level, if we get down to that level, is very difficult to say. I would caution people, of course. I don't think they've changed margin, have they? Oh, here's a margin update from AMP. So now let's look at our margins. So to trade one micro, now it's $500, and to trade a mini, it's $5,000. Okay, which is considerably better than $19,900 and $2,000 to trade a micro. So the brokerage firms are lowering margin and allowing you guys to play. That'll bring some people back into the market. So what we want to do now is we want to make sure that we trade intelligently still, right? Why can you never find the link every day, Mike? Because you got, Mike, it says there, JJ live training schedule. Maybe we should just change it to link. But when we did change it to link, people couldn't find it anyway. Nobody could ever find that link. We even changed it once to click here, and people still couldn't find it. I don't know what it is. It's still in the same place. It's still in the same place, Mike. All right. So let's take a look and see how we're going to trade this thing. Inventory's down here now. That point of control has shifted lower. The overnight point of control now is down at 54.02. Ed, that's hilarious. Well, here's the thing. Inventory is short. We've already had moves higher. And guess what? Up at 54.24, Mark, there are sellers. Okay? So And right now at 54, I'd say 54.04, there are sellers. So we have sellers in the market. That's not unusual considering what's happened over the last couple of weeks, right? You're going to have inventory. It's not like we're making new highs every day, right? Right? So, how do we manage our expectations? Okay? If inventory is short and you don't get a move up, right? Ed's in the room too, Steve. Well, he comes and goes. If inventory is short and you can't get a move up, it's because you got sellers. We have sellers here and here and here. The top of every candle shows you where the sellers are. Okay? So there's a bit of a delay. You're going to see them right now. You're going to see the sellers there, there, right? The top of those candles, when you get a move back up, expect them to sell there again because they were selling there before. Okay? A little secret about candle charts that nobody will tell you. The top of the candle is where the sellers initiate. Right? Don't worry about the buyers right now. What you want to worry about, Mark, is where they stop selling. Right? Watch the offer. The offer will tell you where the buyers are. Because when the market comes down and finds buyers, it will move away from those buyers and try to get them to move up and pay more. Commerce. Okay? I always say don't worry about the buyers. Worry about where the sellers start selling and where they stop selling. You don't have to worry about too many things in this market. The less that you need to keep in your head when you're doing your analysis, the easier it is going to be for you to execute with a clear head. If you've got 20 or 30 things going through your head, your execution is going to be all muddled. Right? We do at Microefutures, we have a very simple way of trading. We wait for the selling orders to exhaust and then go long, or we wait for sellers to start competing and then we go short. We like to trade at the edges of the zones so we have the best opportunity for a move, right? So now if you are an active trader, right? What are the signs of competing sellers for a short? Right here, my friend. You see that? Right there. You see those candles? They both have the same top. Up at 54.04. See that? Don't worry about the color of the candle. Just look at the tops of the candles. And now you're going to say if it's a wick or a twick or a bwick, just the top of the candle. Doesn't matter what it is. The sellers are initiating at the top. They're competing at the top. The next candle lower, look at the top. How do you find exhaustion? When you can't breathe anymore. Sorry. You threw it right over the plate. I had to hit it. Okay? So when are the sellers exhausted? Is that what you're trying to say? Okay, that's when the market goes underneath a level and comes back up over it. Right? When you got to use your inhaler, that's when you find exhaustion. Okay? Listen, you got to have a bit of a laugh in this market, otherwise all your hair's going to fall out. So now we did a look below and fail of 53.90. So if you are long 91, 92, as soon as you get up to this 95, 96, I would anticipate that there be a seller there. So if you have a high in the market structure that only has one candle. No, well, this one was just clear, right? So, Poopa, there is a seller there, and then they're competing here. So I would wait, right? Wait till the sellers start to compete underneath a level. Pick a level, and then see if the sellers compete underneath the level. Because if you're doing this, you're selling. You're trying to short the front end of the move. You always want to try and short the back end of a move. Okay? One minute works fine. 1 minute works fine. I've played with 30-second charts, and you know, eh, I just tend to overtrade. Right? So hey, let's look. When we come up to this level here, are they going to sell into it? Up at 54.04. Right? Now I've been trading for 33 years. I use a 1 minute chart, right? And when I coach people, I tell them just to do what I tell them to do. And then once you start making 2, 3, 4, 5 grand a day, then you can change it. But I have spent decades trying to figure this out to teach you guys in a clear manner so you don't overcomplicate, overthink things. Look, there's a seller at 54.04. Very simple, right? It's right there. Where I drew that line, they're selling. So if you were long at 53.92, 93, right? No, 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 no. If I'm telling you, if you were long at 53.93, 94, you'd be selling at 5400, 5400, 5401. Now, if you're a gun to the head short and you're shorting, put your stop over 5404 and put some bids at 53.95, 96. If the offer starts raising over 5404, you're going to be out of that trade. I like to short mark when the market goes from one color to another. I like to go long when it goes from one color to another because it's the edge of balance. Some places for me, there is no trade. Now, I know a lot of people love to trade, and I don't want to tell people not to trade. But for me, I want to take 3 to 6 trades a day tops. I don't want to do more than 6 trades a day. Right? If any of you are old enough to know what a trade confirmation is, in the old days when you'd do a trade, the brokerage firm would send you a little piece of paper in an envelope saying, you bought, we sold, or you sold, we bought, 1,000 shares of this at this price. I have 30 Rubbermaid bins full of those confirmations from when I was doing deals. That's a lot of trades, right? So I don't feel the need to trade. That's right. I like trading, but I don't feel the need to overtrade. I also don't take trades unless it fits my business model. Right now, do you see how the candles have gotten kind of tiny? I leave that alone, right? So right here, there's nothing for me to do here, right? I don't want to be involved in this at all. I'll let somebody else muck around with that, if that makes sense. No, there's just no opportunity, right? It has nothing to do with the spread. I'm not a market maker. It's when the candles are really that tight together, right? And I know there's a seller at 4. Where's the trade for me? The trade has to make business sense. So here it made business sense. And it made business sense to sell here. Now that I have to wait for the next business opportunity to present itself. So short candles means not enough people in the store, Mark. Think of a market like a marketplace. Picture Walmart, right? And sometimes you get people rushing the front door to get in. At 3 in the morning, go to Walmart. There's not a lot of people in there. Right? There's no battling between buyers and sellers. Sellers are always trying to coax buyers into the market to sell them their crap. They don't want to fight them. Right? If you walked into Walmart and that guy wearing that blue vest, if he came at you with a baseball bat, does that really induce you to want to go buy a TV? Probably not. Yeah, that'd be rad. Mike, you're the only person who would say that, right? Right? You don't want to be threatened when you go to buy a TV. That's why everybody goes, buyers and sellers are fighting. I'm like, why? Why are they fighting? Right? I'm trying to sell you something, right? Right? It's just a little common sense. See, it's stock market, futures market, forex market, bond market, right? Everybody forgets the market part, right? We want you to come in and spend your money, right? You get the comedy for free. After 33 years, if you can't laugh at this, especially after days like yesterday, oh my goodness. Yesterday, does anybody ever remember Eddie Murphy Raw or Delirious? When he said Goonie Goo Goo? I was like, I wasn't even in front of the chart yesterday, right? And my girlfriend was, I don't know what she was trying to buy I don't know what she was doing. And I was, when I'm done, I'm done. I got away from the screens and she was like, it's kind of going crazy. And I went, oh God, not another sell off. And she said, no, upside. So I went and looked. And that's, I guess, when the news came out. And it started to rip. Oh, goodness. All right. So let me just grow and grab Jesus. Those are the single prints. And this lower stops. Previous day low is 49.80. And we're trading 53.81. Do not be surprised if we come and take out that overnight low. And if we do, look for 53.52. Okay? Because that's where the next lowest stop is. Let's see where we open. Let's see if we can hold that overnight low. Now, as the market moves up, look for 53.84. There'll be a seller at 84. If they see a buyer, they'll lift to 90. It's very, very nice to know where the sellers are going to be, right? I mean, they're right there. They're waiting. They're waiting for you to come and buy. So now if we clear 84, it'll be up to 90. But if we can't, then the concept of rotation happens and the market's going to rotate back down. Right, it is now. Now it's going to rotate back down. Let's see if it can hold the open. Nope. Can't hold the open. 71.5 is your next lower target. And if we take out that A low, you're looking for 53.62. If we can't take it out, the market will rotate back up to 81. But let's see where they sell into it. Am I using the DOM to know where the sellers are? I am not. The DOM is absolutely useless. Because no trader in his right mind is going to show you where he puts his sell orders. Just use the top of the candles. All that stuff is nonsense. If I need to buy 1,000,000 shares of stock, am I going to run around telling you that I'm going to buy it so you can front run me? I'd have to be out of my mind. Why would anyone show you their order? Think about it. Seriously. Now, as we rotate higher again, right? We knew we had sellers at 84. They might come and compete because they have to here, right? We got about a 40-second delay, folks, so use your charts. I'll call out the levels, okay? Yeah, that stuff's useless. Man, bull, bear. If markets have been around for hundreds of years, hey, if we cleared out that 79 seller, next stop is 84 and a quarter. 79 seller is still there. All I'm looking at is a 1-minute candle chart. If markets have been around for 300 years, 400 years, 500 years, how did people trade before the invention of the microchip? Why would anyone tell you what they're going to do in business? It'd be suicide. Look for 84 and a quarter. If the 84 and a quarter offer lifts, that means they've seen buyers and you're looking for 90 half. I do. So my chart's showing 22 and YouTube showing 36. See how the sellers came in at 84? Right? You don't need Bookmap to see that, my friends. And I'm not disparaging the company at all. I'm just saying the top of the candles is where the sellers are going to be. You don't need any special software. How did people trade with a golf pencil and a piece of paper before nose print, book print, all that stuff? Right? How did they trade? Seriously. You're getting x-rays? They carved it in ruins, exactly. Back in my day, we carved it in ruins. Now let's see if we can hold that A low. I am, for some reason, I want to see that overnight low get tagged. I want to see what's lurking underneath it. Right? New product name. Right? I'm making a chart called a nose print chart. Yeah, Pollux, that really hurts my head, man. How do you make anything out on that? How do you actually trade that? Now, I know you're a crypto market maker, but I don't. I mean, you got to be on some serious LSD to figure out that chart, right? I showed you that there was an 84 seller using a simple red line, right? When the delta is negative, that means the plane is late coming in at the airport. We're just sitting in some chop here, folks. It's nonsense, Jim. There's the overnight low. They just slammed it. I didn't trade on the floor. I traded on the desk. There's a seller at 59. You can't. There's that stop. You got to justify that crypto job. That's hilarious. Right? We found some buying at that stop at 52. Just look for the overnight low. Let's see if we get accepted back in. Now, if we go back in, look for a seller here at 76, right? If we can get over 71. Here we go. Little razzle dazzle. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like the way those charts look in a sort of a Jackson Pollock, you know. I'd put them on the wall as art just to give people a headache. All right. Looking for 76 seller. Hello, there they are, right there. Right? A simple straight line. A simple straight line. In practice, you see the red ball grow. Oh, that's hilarious, Pollux. You see the red ball grow. Pollux, you got to remove that, man. I'm sorry. People are going to go and start doing it. Then they're going to start asking me if you could pull that. That'd be great. See the red ball grow. It's like watching the white rabbit run away. I'm sorry. Sorry, it's been that kind of a week. Yeah, sorry, brother. I got to pull that out, okay? If you don't mind. Can you delete that? Thank you. Let's see if that overnight low holds. Okay? So we know we have sellers around 76. And we know the sellers stop selling around 52. So let's see what kind of a rotation we get. We're going to come down and test that 52.5 again. It's just simpler, you know. We just don't want to give people headaches. We want them to make some money and go fishing, you know. Now, if we run that 51 stop, the next low, oh my God, is the I low, and it's all the way down here at 52.83. So be careful, ladies and gentlemen. I would stick to the levels, right? I would stick to the levels just so you know what's going on. If we get accepted above 59 again, right, and get back into that overnight range, right, be careful on the short side. So far, we have sellers, and the sellers are competing lower and lower, which is okay if you're short. That's a good thing. Now, the problem is if we take out that A low, don't try and buy the dip, right? If we take out that A low, please do not try and buy the dip because we don't know what's lurking down there. So if you're short and we're underneath 55, or sorry, 57, 58, you're okay. But as soon as the market takes out that red line, be careful because it could rip hard, right? Just be careful. And, you know, we've only been open for 13 minutes. So now if we get under 43, look for 33 half. Okay? Then 24, then 14. Right? So because we've got a little bit of a delay here, I will call out the levels. Right? I don't think there's a delay on my voice. So we found some bids under 43. We're going to walk it up. And notice that the sellers are coming in lower and lower and lower and lower. Thanks, Jem. All right, be careful now. Over 52, if there's no seller there, be careful on your short. The order book is thin again and jumpy. Well, Poopa, there's more than 3 or 4 people in this market, right? There are thousands of market participants. They all have different agendas, right? You got to remember that we've been in a downtrend for a couple of weeks, and we got a lot of trapped long inventory. They're using this up move to sell into it. Just because we had one massive rally doesn't mean everything's okay, right? So when you push markets to their limits, they're going to try and find a place to go back and forth, back and forth. Hey, Elliot, how you doing? Looking for that overnight low at 53.59 and a half. Above 53.59 and a half, there's going to be a seller at 65 quarter. Then the next sellers will be up at 81. It's good to see you, Elliot. Yeah, it has not been a great trading week. Some people have had some success, and I think that's great. But these are challenging times. Don't worry, everything changes, right? So past that 65, look for 71 and a half. Now watch, we're looking for 81. 71 to 81. Let's see if we can get there. Oh, there's a seller at 75. Remember, the top of the candle is where the seller initiates. Markets go down, Poopa, when the product is getting put on sale. Markets go up when there's a bunch of buyers and they raise price. That's it. That's all there is to it. Don't worry, you've only been in the room for a week. You'll get used to it. Right? Just try and calm your brain and try and simplify things. Okay? Just kind of take it easy on yourself. What's next here? There's a seller at the open at 75, 74, moving it down. Let's see where they stop selling. It's a lot to take in at first when you start. When you start trading, there's so much information that comes at you. Okay? Watch the ask. Don't worry about the buyers. We'll take care of the buyers. You worry about the seller. The seller sets the price according to the kind of customers that are coming in. So right now the sellers are seeing some buyers, so they're raising price. Look for 81. Yeah, close, close. Not just yet. So if you can't get to 81, that means people are selling 80. Oh, there's 81 right there to the tick. Watch the seller. The sellers are always in control. Sellers set the price according to the kind of customers' order flow that's coming into the market. That's all there is to it. Oh boy. These are some interesting days, I'll tell you. So today, sellers all the time. So GeoCap, you go into Walmart. Do you set the price of the TV or does Walmart set the price of the TV? There you go. You're the buyer, they're the seller. Those who have the inventory set the price according to the business. There you go. Don't be afraid to don't be afraid to visualize things, right? They have all sorts of inventory, yeah. Right? Yeah, sometimes when wholesale are short inventory, they flip to the bid to flatten out. But you got to remember that wholesalers make money when they're at risk. Tagged at 62 all the way back up. Look for 81. There's 81. And let's see if that 84 sellers are they still there? Or are we going to rip right through that? And if we do, look for 90 and a half. Those are big candles, ladies and gentlemen. 1 minute candle from 62 to 85. Oof. Jesus, look at this. And all the way back down to 68. Phew. Yeah, it's definitely not the teacups at Disneyland. Hey, Al? It's not settling down just yet, Ren. There's a lot of old business to do, new business. People are trying to figure out what's going on. Thanks, Lear. It's only 5 to 1, eh? How is a retail trader supposed to trade this? That's a great question. I would say to sit out and watch. Do you understand, Cass, that not all the time, not all markets are suitable for you to trade, right? Do you guys get that concept? Just because there's business taking place doesn't mean that you should be smack dab in the middle of it. Now, a lot of people say you're not a trader unless you're trading all the time. Those are people who are broke or who lie about their trades, right? And don't ever be ashamed to admit that the market's too fast for you. I'm not taking trades here. Competition, Edmund. So if I have inventory and you have inventory and you're selling at $5 and I come in at 4.90, you better match my price or else I'm going to outcompete you and grab all your customers. You guys have to think about it like commerce, right? It's really fast. It's really a fast market. You have to determine when you can trade and when you can't trade. And sometimes, unfortunately, right, it's not for us. You know, and once you get used to the fact that, hey, this is not a time for me to do business, you got to be at peace with that. Like, here's the thing. I have no idea what's going to happen. And if I told you this is going to happen now and we're going to go to this level and stuff like that, well, don't believe me. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen in 3 hours from now. All I can tell you is we have sellers at 70 and we have sellers at 76 and they stopped selling at 52, right? Now, is it tradable? Can I get in and out and execute? Because if I can't, then I can't trade, right? I got to be able to get in and out and execute. While I'm here, I'll do a little advertising. Market makers. I wish the market makers are listening to me, Ed. I'm just a citizen now, you know? I'm just a regular guy. Right? And here's the thing about widening your stops, right? Do you really want to spend that kind of money? Your stops are a business expense, right? Do I leave risk on until profit or move to break even ever during a trade? What I do, Pollux, is as soon as I'm long, I put my sell orders in. If my sell orders do not get executed, I start getting out of the trade. As soon as I'm short, I put my buy orders in. So say I was going long here, right? So for example, say I was going if I was looking at a look below and fail of 43, I'd be long, stop, sell one, sell two. And if I can't get up there, boom, I'm out of the trade, goodbye. It's very hard to execute this kind of price action. And it's okay to admit it and just kind of sit back and watch. You guys have to understand that we are in unprecedented times, right? This is not a normal market cast, right? So you're not expected to execute this kind of price. If Renaissance Technologies lost money in the first couple of weeks of April, what do you think's going to happen? Sure, we have some traders in our room who made some good trades, but don't overtrade. Don't give it back, right? Don't do crazy things, right? You know, this is a great time to learn. You know, this is a great time to learn. And the biggest lesson to learn is when not to risk money. And never be ashamed to say, this is beyond my ability, so I'm going to sit and learn. Because I'll tell you something, in an environment like this, when you got a 1 minute candle that's 20 points, you can destroy your account in 3 to 5 minutes. Not even, right? Just because the market is open doesn't mean you should be trading. You have to wait for your setup, right? That's why words like FOMO and things like that, right? Those words have no business in a place of business, right? You ever hear a baker said, I'm going to do some FOMO baking, right? You ever said a brain surgeon say, hey, I'm going to do some FOMO brain surgery? Come on. Yeah, those singles are quite a ways underneath us, Zazu. Right? Those singles are down, what, at 52.80? It's a long way down, my friend. Do we get there? We might. Trying out a new recipe. Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with trying out a new trade. Just use the micro or use the sim. Poor low. And just as Zazu said lower, the bottom of this 8 times discount range is 53.14. I use the look below and fail and the look above and fail geocap. If you come into our room, we'll teach you what our trading methodology is. And it keeps you from trying to buy the low or trying to sell the high. We have a very clear way to tell you when to execute a trade. And we also have a very clear way to tell you to stay the hell out of a trade. Right? So for example, if I'm looking, just say I'm looking for a long, I'll look for a look below of 53.14 half, fail and come back up before I would go long. Right? Just because it's got one green candle doesn't mean you should go long. Let the market show you where to take the trade. The trade has to make business sense. The risk has to make business sense with that trade. So if the trade stops making sense, you should not be in the trade. Right? It's okay to go long off a short position, Rolly, but just make sure you sell into strength. Right? Right now I'm looking for the seller mark. I kind of see them here at the top of this candle at 53, like 47. I mean, it's jumpy. It's definitely jumpy. Right. I'm looking to see if they sell it down to 14 and a half. I'm looking for the bid now. In the second half hour of trade, I want to see where that bid is. Oh, excuse me. Man, this market is tiring me out. I like nice, calm, boring markets. You make your money and then you just go. Oh, I love boring, Mike. Boring's the best. Yeah, I love Globex. When Globex is nice and rotational, and you just get a nice bracketed range, and you're just going back and forth, it's beautiful. It's like playing ping pong. Make a couple of trades, right? Good stuff, Ed. Yeah, it'll be good to have you back in the room, brother. See, look, seller's right there, right? The seller is right there, right where we said they'd be. It's beautiful, right? Definitely, Cass. Right? Learning, this market, when things calm down, it'll be a lot better for you. How to stop focusing on the money and stop trading for living. I've failed 200 evals and funded accounts. Um, Obviously, there's something there, Rich, that you're doing the same thing over and over again. Um, Mike, cut it out. Um, Rich, why don't you give me a DM? DM me on Twitter, okay? And we'll have a chat. I would say take a break from trading. If you're blowing that many accounts, you need to stop. Right? Hey guys, this guy's reaching out for help. Don't make fun of him. Okay? If you were on my trade desk, I'd give you a shot in the head. Don't make fun of people who are trying to get help. You know better. Okay. So Rich, reach out and DM me and we'll have a chat. Okay? If you're losing all the time and if you're having that kind of those issues, you got to take a break. You got to step away and reevaluate what you think you should be doing and the business, right? Hey, Sadiq, what's going on? Yo, Mike is an institutionalized trader. You know, Mike, in the old days, they would put you quants in a janitor's closet. Now they let you guys run free. You're all over the place. Oh, man. They had to keep you guys. You guys are animals. Just put them in a just put them in a closet and just feed them hot pockets. Looking for that seller at 47 again, right? Oh my goodness. Excuse me. So we're in a bit of a rotation here between 53.30 and I'd say 53.47. Let's see if we can break out of that. Right here. Um, what I consider the only trade I'm interested in, and honestly, with this price action, I really don't have any interest, is if we do a look below 53.14 and fail, and I'd be buying here, stop at 14, selling 24, and I'd be done in a perfect world, right? I always stick to my levels. I will not mess around in here. I refuse to mess around in here. I wait for this, especially on a day like this, right? Especially on a day like this, right? I don't want to get involved in stuff that I don't know. I'm looking for my clear advantage, my edge, right? I only consider a balance area, right? Once again, the less I have to look at, the better. So right now, I'm in a relaxed frame of mind because I know there's no trade for me here. If it does this, then I've got a trade, right? And I don't know what's going to happen because you guys got to remember, yesterday was not a normal trading day, right? Yeah, exactly, Mike, right? A balance range is not where you make a stand. Only if it looks below and fails, right? And if it fails, then the business reason for the trade is there on the look below and fail. But if I bought it at 53.17 and it broke 14 and a half, I am gone, right? And that's another thing. This market is very, very sensitive to any kind of news, fake news. So I only trade when I see my business setup that it's proven. Now let's see if we get a 53.14 and a half look below and fail. We could just get a look below and go. Yeah, I see that, Ed. There you go. Opened in value area in range. It's a pretty big range, Sadiq. What we're going to do is we're going to try and find that post news bid, right? Right. We have no idea where the bid is, so we're just looking, right? And right now, see, that was not a look below and fail, so I did not take that long. Also, I was flapping my gums and I wasn't dialed in. Exactly. Yeah. Definitely not a normal day yesterday. Thank God for that. Just stick to your business, right? You know, just yeah, I'm not going to even attempt to try and call out a trend, right? You know, I'm an inventory order flow day trader. I do not, I don't have the audacity to try and tell you what the macro is or what it's going to be, any of that stuff, tariffs. I just stay out of that. I just wait for my trade. If I miss my trade, I wait for the next trade, right? Yesterday, definitely. If I was a wholesaler, I would I would be definitely definitely getting rid of some inventory, right? There was a seller at 43 before. Let's see if they're still there. Yes, no correction to overnight inventory yet. Hey, Chris, how you doing? Could I elaborate on credit swaps? Unfortunately, I can't, Joe, because I have no clue. It is not my area of knowledge at all. Sorry. I'm very, very basic. I've always been a distributor of stock. I learned how to retail trade because I had to do something less stressful. Yeah, I'll never BS you. I have no idea. No clue. There are much smarter people that we have access to that could answer those questions. I'm a mechanic. If you got a broken stock, call me. I'll help fix it. That's what my job has always been, fixing broken stocks. And the only thing I'm good at engineering are short squeezes. Right? But I have no investment banking experience at all. Well, you got to be a plumber too, right? Let's say I'm a contractor, Al. Plumbing, electrical, mechanical. Oh, the charts that you see on the right hand side with the A and B, those are market profile or TPO charts, right? And it's a method of charting that was introduced by a guy called Peter Stadelmeier in the 80s. Jim Dalton popularized it. Another rotation here. You know, somebody today asked me if I was what my bias was, and my bias is to not get hit in the face. Yeah, that seller's at 40. Pretty persistent, eh, Lair, at 40? I'm curious what the next period holds. Oh, yeah, we like to keep the room. We like to keep the price of the room down because you know it takes time for people to learn, and you know we want them to learn in a calm atmosphere. The breath isn't that bad, and also sometimes when a market opens, the agenda is not really clear. Like I know of myself after a day like yesterday, right? I'm really wondering where the bid is going to be. So if we kind of zoom out and look at a larger, you know, a larger chart. Let's see, it should switch over here soon. I'm looking to see where this bottom's going to be. Because here I have no idea what's lurking down here. You know what I mean? I have no idea where that bid is going to be. And neither does the market. That's why we keep gingerly pushing lower and lower and lower. But I'll tell you something. When we find that big buyer, wherever they are, you're going to get a reaction to the upside. Okay? There'll be dragons there. Exactly. Oh, I miss Art Cashin. Right? Yeah, it's hard to say, Jam, right? I would wait for the next half hour period, which is going to come up in about 10 minutes. I'm seeing that nobody has to sell under 53.24 right now, right? How do you know there's a big buyer? Because the sellers will run away from them and make them chase the price higher. A lot of the times you'll see that in a fast market, Craig, you'll see the market come down and it'll find that big buyer and then it'll jump. Like, you know, when somebody sits on a chair that has a tack sitting out of it or a nail, you just sit down and whoa, you'll see that. That's when you know that there's a large buy order underneath. Right? So, right, it'll come up and then bam, it'll just get that really quick reaction up. The price pops, yeah, in milliseconds. Exactly. 53.43. I would say at 53, 15, 16 pool. Here's where the big buyer was. And then they moved their buy orders up. And then the sellers came in and we came down. And folks, if you don't see this stuff right away, this was a fail to look below. The look below and fail is when it looks below 53.14 half, fails and comes back up, which means those sell orders have completed themselves and the sellers don't have to sell under 14 half. Here they stopped before 14 half because somebody front ran that level. So that's a fail to look below. So we've had a little chop here. We're going to take that and try and sell it as high as we can now. Because of yesterday's big surge, Craig, I have no idea what to expect today. Right? Say you're a dog catcher, right? And you're out there catching dogs and there's Great Danes and there's, Basset Hounds and Golden Retrievers. And then all of a sudden, you see an 8-foot tall kangaroo. You kind of know what I'm saying? Like, I have no idea what to expect after yesterday. That's why I'm going to let the market and I'm going to let the billionaires trade this out. And I'm going to sit and watch while they do so. And if I can come in and clip a trade here and there, okay. But if the price is going too fast or if I'm moving too slow, I'll just sit and wait. Right? They're buyers somewhere because you know why I'm saying they're buyers? Because from 52.81 to 51.01, there's a massive short position. You don't need to. The good thing is, Gio, you don't need to worry about that. You don't need to estimate the wholesaler's inventory. All you have to do is have your trade set up. The less that you have to think about, the better. So had I been on the ball, right, and if the tape was a little slower, when the market came down here to 14, I could have maybe bought some 18.20, put a stop under 14 and a half, sold a bit at 24, 25, 26, right? That's all I care about. I'm just trying to figure out where I can do business, right? The less I need to worry about, the less I need to hold in my head, the better my execution is going to be. Now, look at how the candles, the lows, are getting higher. Because the offer is moving higher and the buyers have to chase price. The short-term inventory is now between 53.43 and 53.24. And now we're going to take it and we're going to sell it higher. But where? Where are we going to slow down? Well, I'd say what is that? Just under 70? No, it's good that you're asking questions. So if you come into our room at Microefutures, I show you how to get these balance levels. So the balance level I had was 47 to 57. The discount level was 2 times down to 54.28. And then discount again to 53.90. And then, so I go 2, 4, 8, and then it'll be 16. Just discount and markup zones. So you find a cost basis, you discount it twice, you discount it 4 times, discount it 8 times. So it's really simple. right? I like to keep the analysis really, really simple so we can focus on execution, right? When we can focus on execution, you can, your mind is clear, it's free. You can't get access to the room? Well, Steve's right there in chat. He'll be able to help you out. I do a balance every I do a balance every area every day, GeoCap, and just because I like to have the fresh information. I do the same process every day, GeoCap, so it forces me to be disciplined, and I follow the same process every single day. Oh, what's in price discovery, I don't draw balance zones. So yesterday, for example, yesterday I had balance zones in this area, and then when it did this, I wasn't even in front of the screen. I wasn't even watching. I saw it. I saw it as soon as it started taking out the higher levels, and as soon as it started taking out 5306, I just was like, leave it alone. We'll see what happens tomorrow. I don't get involved. When the market's in price discovery can be very violent, so I don't get involved. I don't try and draw balance zones. I don't trade it because that's not business for me to participate in. Right? Like you got to stay in your own lane. We're retail traders. That's how traders blow up accounts is when they try and trade price discovery because they have no references to manage their risk. So they're in total like cowboy mode, right? And it never ends well. Sometimes you'll get lucky, right? I don't really want to depend on luck in business. I know there's a certain aspect of luck, but I would rather focus on my process and my discipline and my money management. Make sense? I like boring business. I like slow, boring business, right? What I love is when the market does rotations, right? So when the market does like a rotation like this and goes back and forth, that's what I love. I love this. So when it looks below and fails, I can go long. When it looks above and fails, I can go short. So I have my playground, my risk is defined. I like rotations. Yeah, and you can make a decent living just working those rotations. Which is what my goal is, and my goal for you folks is to make a decent living and manage your risk. You know, that is that's my goal for my friends. I don't want them to be in crazy situations. I just want them to make some money, pay their bills, and have a nice life. Do I anticipate rotations? No, I wait for the market to show me the rotations, AJ. Like I just showed you, right? So if you come into the micro futures room, we'll show you how to find the rotations, how to mark them. I have a 5-step method on how to do this. Really simple. No. If it breaks the top of that rotation, I wait for the next look below and fail. I am not a breakout trader. See how it's trying to break out here over 62? I am trained to sell size into the breakout. So if I was long product at 50 and it's breaking 62, I'm dumping it into that buying instead of trying to buy the breakout. So I have been trained to sell stock. You guys have been trained to buy it. So it's a completely different way I think. A breakout trader is somebody who buys breakouts. Oh, I've gone over. I'm sorry, folks. Apologies. My bad. Yeah, come say hi, Mark. DM me when you get into the Discord room. Have a great morning, everyone. And reach out if you need me. Thanks, everyone. Be safe out there. Bye for now.